Maybe if you'd ask for the blessings on our meeting and maybe mention our CAO and his family.
You bet. Thank you. Our Father in heaven, as we bow before thee as councillors and administration to the town of Cardston, we ask that we will be guided and directed in the affairs of this community. We ask a special blessing to be with our CAO as he is taking care of his father, that he will travel in safety and be able to return in safety. And we ask a blessing to be with his father at this time. We ask for thy guidance and direction in the affairs that we discuss, and the decisions we make will be for the benefit of the community of Cardston. These things we ask for humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, so now it's 4 o'clock, and we'll call our Council Committee of the Whole meeting to order on this second day of February. Happy Groundhog Day, everybody.
You saw a shadow, didn't you?
And it's a
so,
short spring.
Anyway, we're looking forward to a good spring. So anyway, we'd like to welcome our media, welcome Corey McCarthy with Channel 32, and welcome Kim with the paper, and Mike Livingston, we'd like to welcome you to our session today. We'll hear from you in just a minute or two. I would like to go to the agenda. We have one addition to the agenda that I'm aware of. If anybody has any others, you can let me know. But 7C, if you'll add 7C, it's the Alberta Southwest ACP grant application. They're asking for our support, and just add that to the agenda. Also, just to note, under 6 policy, it says S45 snow removal. You might just want to make note that that's S45-1 if we make a motion on that.
F?
So
Half as in Frank?
S as in sanding or snow.
45-1?
Which one?
Bylaw.
Under 6A.
6A, snow removal. It's just add a -1 to that policy S45.
-1?
Just, yeah, it's S45-1. So, anyway, when we come to that, we'll just take a note of that. Otherwise, any other additions that anybody has? If not, I'll call for motion.
Okay. I move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Okay, Mayor Kronen moves the adoption of the agenda. All in favor? Okay, good. So we'll, now we can move to Mr. Livingston. Mike? If you
Yes.
Give us just a little brief rundown on the handy bus, and then I think the council has a few questions for you. So
Okay.
We'll ask you to give us a few thoughts, and then we'll probably have a few questions.
Well, the handy bus, you see it zipping around town all day from Monday to Friday. Once in a while, we'll do a Saturday, but we try to stay away from Saturdays and Sundays. We probably have close to 50 patrons, you know, regular patrons, but we get other patrons that just once in a while need a ride to the hospital and back, or they need a ride to wherever, and so they just pay cash, you know, for their ride around town. We have about 15 people that use walkers for getting on the bus. And we probably have anywhere from 15 to 20 wheelchairs. Just all depends who's riding when, but on a regular day, they probably haul at least 8 chairs, I'm guessing, on a regular day. Sometimes it's more than that, just all depends where they're going and when they're going.
Can I ask you, how many chairs can you put in that bus?
Two chairs in the back. The front, you can fit about 6 people just sitting. Like they call it a 6-passenger, because it's a short bus. It has a couple of double seats and then 3 or 4 single seats. But it has rails, like when the front doors open, there's rails on both sides for people that are stepping up, and that works good. And then there's grab handles on each seat as they're walking down the And the seats have belts. You don't have to use them, there's no law saying you have to be belted in a bus. It falls under like a taxi, but we make sure those chairs are in there pretty good. Because once in a while, if somebody's chair, even though they're in a wheelchair, if they don't have a belt in there, and they make a sudden stop.
So the maximum capacity is 6 people sitting and 2 wheelchairs.
2 wheelchairs, yep.
So if we take the wheelchairs out, the capacity is only 6 people?
6 people, yes.
All right, okay.
And like I say, most of those people that are sitting are usually in walkers, and they just bring them up to the door, and then the driver will take the walker and put it either in between the seat, or if there's no chairs in there, there's hooks on the floor to support a walker. But a walker will not fit down the aisles of the bus. And I'm looking at a different bus to see. It's pretty hard, because, you know, when you have one seat on each side, you'd think the bus would be fairly wide, but the walkers are fairly wide too, so.
So what do you do with the walkers then? They have to fold them up?
Yeah, the driver usually folds them up, and if there's chairs back there, he just puts them between one of the seats, and they're fine. But if you can open them up again and then just hook them like you would the wheelchairs, they're just little automatic hooks that come out and hold stuff from rolling around.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions you need to know?
Just an interesting question.
Okay.
Have you ever filled that bus right up?
Oh, yes.
So you have a big pickup and then pick them all up and
Yes.
have them all at the same time?
Well, you don't, it goes to the school, you know, there's lots of times there's 3 or 4 people on that bus at any given time, you know, that go. Let me,
You mean up to the handy bus or the handicap school?
yes.
Oh, okay.
And some people go otherwise. You can pass those around. That's just kind of the driver rules. That the drivers get those on a regular basis. And same with the price fee. You can pass them around. The structured fee. You know, give this one to Rob. This is just our annual meeting that comes up, that we have once a year. And when we get our financial, we'll give the town a copy
Thanks.
for our,
Mike, how many drivers do you have right now?
there's 3. Greg Burt drives, his older brother Noel drives, and Don Carlson drives once in a while. Don's retired. I mean, not that he needs the money or anything, but he loves to get out and drive and meet the people. And the people really like Don. They love Noel. They love Greg. You know, it's pretty good. Some of them are getting older, so you know. We're always looking for new drivers, and you would think that would be a simple thing to find drivers, but I'll tell you that is tough finding people.
Have you ever thought of advertising the need for driver on our website? Have you ever thought of using it?
No, we haven't.
Well, that's a possibility that you may have.
Yeah, we'd have to just list, you know, like the qualifications. It falls under the taxi cab license.
Is it class 2 or class 4? Or?
It's usually class 4.
Okay.
Which is the taxi. The class 2 is a bus license,
Right.
and what happens is if they go class 2, they have to take their license in a big bus, in a school bus,
Yeah.
and most people can't find a bus to get. So yes.
Go ahead.
There is a few questions that we had there for you, and maybe you can try to answer them to your best of your ability. One question I may have is regarding partnering with other communities or with other associations to try to to do fundraising. Is that something that you have contemplated?
Yeah, we pass out a thing, we just finished doing it around to the businesses, just donation things, and they usually donate like $100 or $150 or $200. These are just like the drugstores and the eye doctors and everybody around town. Some of it's real estate, some of it's other. And the only other is if the Rotary Club or the Lions or whoever raise money for us once in a while. And then our other income is just from, people paying their fees and so on.
But you never have initiated anything yourself?
No, well, I remember the old council wanted us to do the casino. And I said, why don't we open up a casino in Cardston? I said, why take everything out of town? I says, wouldn't that be awful to have a casino in town? I know. We do it the other way, but go ahead.
Mike, I don't think you have enough volunteers to do a casino. It takes a lot of people.
Yeah,
to do.
the last time that the casino was up, it was the Legion that did the casino for us. And they probably gave us, $5,000, $6,000 at the time, which wasn't bad because they do different groups, so they wouldn't be giving us the whole.
Have you ever approached them?
Oh, yes, yeah. We talked, Rotary raised money on this last bus for buying the lift, the Rotary Club, and it came to about $8,900.
Maggie, you have a question?
Mike, with all organizations that the council looks at funding, we ask for a financial statement.
Yes, they will get it in March.
And we need a financial statement, but my second question to you is, how often does your board meet?
Probably 3 or 4 times a year. What happens is the presidency meets more often than the whole board.
Okay.
Because there's 2 vice presidents, myself and Doreen, that meet on a fairly regular basis to do financial. We still have our other meetings to get stuff approved, but I mean, there's stuff that crops up, just little things that you have to take care of. Just regular bills that are being paid, so on, so forth.
So you're expecting to send the town a financial statement in the near future?
Yes, our annual meeting is on the 22nd.
Include it with my notes when I do my report.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the financial statement for every year going back to 2004. Yes.
And another question I have, and you kind of address it here, is do you keep really a set of statistics to understand the usage?
For the daily?
For the use of your bus, do you have a sense, I mean, you gave us some figures.
Oh, yes.
Do you have comparative?
This is what the drivers kind of keep.
Okay, so you have a log, and so
Yes.
you keep a log, but do you at the end tally it up to try to understand the trends when you have more usage or less usage, or do you do anything like this? Or
About the only time we slow down is they usually try to shut the bus down around dinner time, give or take an hour between 12 and 1. Sometimes it gets moved a little bit because they have to pick up people or drop them off, but I mean, they leave that time for dinner, but I mean, that bus goes just about all day long from 8 o'clock in the morning till, 5:30.
Yeah.
But
Year-round, does it just go year-round, or is
Yes.
it lower times?
No, there is no basic slow times.
Okay.
That's the whole thing, because we have to, the hardest part for us is when we've got to get the bus serviced, you have to move people around that we're picking up, then And then you've only got maybe an hour or two that you can get it serviced,
Yeah.
and you have to pick up people again.
Tight schedule.
Yeah.
But Mike, what I think the mayor was asking you is, at the end of the month, or at the end of the week, do you tally your bus driver's logs so that you can go back a year from now and say, last February, our ridership is up 10% or down 10% or 15%, and what do we do about it?
We
How
can,
expenses?
yep, Doreen keeps track of that because the drivers turn the sheets into her for price and calm. But it never does slow down, and we get requests that we can't handle. I know the church has a few people, they'd like to haul to church, but we can't do all those different things because of the money that we get. If you're paying drivers to do all this other stuff, then you're going to take away from the rest of the system.
Yeah, so that brings me back to another issue that I heard many times from Lecrest, where they would love to see, especially in the summer when we have the plays, they would love to see some transportation system to be able to allow those who are still able to go to the theater and enjoy some kind of cultural event. And
Yes.
come back, and that obviously is outside of your regular schedule, but is that something that at one point or another you could consider to accommodate those needs or not?
Yeah, we've thought about it, but the Tanner Center owns a bus that they can operate anytime they want. Like if they need to haul people to the theater, if they need to haul them to Lethbridge. No, I'm just saying that bus probably doesn't get used very much that I know of. And that's why when you were talking about, going to plays or whatever, we often thought, it's funny the Tanner Center doesn't get out and do that sort of thing.
So you mean to tell me the senior center
Has a bus.
has a bus that could maybe
Yeah.
use to satisfy those needs?
Yeah, there's 4 buses in town.
That's another-
The hospital has a bus, and
For the handicap, another.
they just run it to go to Lethbridge because I know we haul people to the hospital sometimes, or from the hospital to Lee Crest or to Chinook once in a while because it's more work for them to fire up their bus, but they use their bus to take people to the Lethbridge Hospital sometimes for an appointment, that sort of thing. The only other bus is the handicap center has a bus, but they only pick up the kids that we deliver over there, and they take them maybe to the barn or to the paper plant, but they're not licensed to go around and pick up people.
What I'm trying then to
Yes.
figure out is there a possibility of all those organizations that own a bus to kind of work together towards better service delivery?
Yeah, I would think
Would be worth exploring.
yeah, I'm not sure who runs that Tanner bus. I mean, I have never seen it,
Yeah,
Leonard Purnell.
okay, so it'd have to be the Cardston Seniors Association.
They use it quite often because they take their people bowling.
Yes, that's,
And they take them swimming, they take them to
Yeah.
cultural events in Lethbridge or wherever. They're always on the go
Yeah.
with that.
but I mean, the seniors, I was just thinking at night, that's because we have no idea, because the drivers are done and then they're gone. And so if something crops up that you don't know about.
But that senior's bus though, it's not set up for handicap, is it?
It should be,
I don't know, I think it's just like a bus.
just to walk on.
The
Yeah,
one
just
that
walk
is
on,
set
yeah.
up is the one that is used by the long-term care at the hospital. They have capacity for wheelchair.
The chair,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's 2, Reed Jensen's daughter, I can't think of her name right now.
Roxy.
Yeah, runs that hospital bus, and so does Shelley, she's a Wahlberger, used to be a reader.
Well, Shelley, I don't know if she's still, she doesn't work.
I see George running it there.
No, but I just meant that's the bus. Where I see it operate during the day is like when the powwow was on,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I think our bus came down there once or twice when the powwow was on for people to, you know,
Okay.
but if you have any other questions, you know, fire away, because I don't, you know.
No, we appreciate you coming and sharing the information with the council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
This last one I'll give you is just, who's on our board? Just so you.
The troublemakers?
Yes.
I've got a little sheet here, looks like there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including our council representatives.
Yes.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
I will run off if you're under control now.
I think we'll make it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to adoption of the minutes now. I hope you all had a chance to read the minutes. I think they were a little late getting posted on our drives. I didn't see them until Monday. But, so there's really a chance to look at the council minutes. They're up.
I'll move to adopt the minutes.
Okay, we have motion. Any discussion on the minutes? I just had one item I noted, and I don't know if it's a big thing or not, but, you know, they had starting time, and then they had the opening prayer. I know we have gone to
Opening.
doing our prayer before the meeting starts, and so I don't know if that should be tweaked just slightly there to, you know,
It might be more appropriate for it not to be in the minutes.
or for it not to be in the minutes, just because we do that as
Before the
before the
minutes
meeting starts.
is called to order.
Yeah. So if that's something that we need to consider, we'll,
I think it's something that should be there, actually.
okay.
On all,
Okay.
It should not be part of
Or
it.
it should just, because we, like I say, we do it voluntarily before the meeting starts, so maybe we just eliminate that from the minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's good, okay, so we'll make the motion to approve.
So I'll move to approve the minutes of January 5th, 2016, as amended to remove the opening prayer.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay, all in favor? Okay, great, thank you. All right, so let's move on to bylaw and policy. Now we come to the snow removal policy S45-1, and there's a map. Now, most of the additions to the snow removal policy are actually streets that were not plowed before, that, you know, that they're new streets basically that were added, and most of them were added as a priority 4. The only significant change is, I spoke to Jeff about this, was down on, I guess does your map show numbers?
Yes.
8?
yes, it does.
Which is down by the,
Third Street West, the Reunion Center?
by the bridge, yeah, by the Reunion Center. And he said that they had moved that to a lower priority at one time because they were told it wasn't a bus route, and now they're told that it is a bus route, so they moved it back to priority 2 again. So that was the only significance. There was a few others that were just changed for convenience in the way that the grader is, you know, for turning and things like that. You probably read that all in the background. So we just need a motion to approve, you know, to recommend to council approval of the policy.
I'll make that recommendation that council approve the snow removal policy as listed here,
Okay. So
submitted by Jill Leonard.
Peavoy, we
Respectfully.
recommend it, yeah?
Just from an information perspective, how do these changes impact the timing of snow removal now? There's quite a few more things.
Yeah, I would
added.
Maybe Jill can.
In talking with Wade on this, because I did all of these changes with Wade's say-so, actually, he said he's doing those areas anyway. It's made to better help him do what he's already doing anyway, so it shouldn't take any more time.
Thank you.
Okay, so, yeah, Councilor Bengry.
Number 11, it shows that it's really not a priority, and that's the alley behind the main street from the library to the ATV.
Oh.
That's this one up here.
Yeah,
Now,
it was indicated in the background.
Shows
I think,
moved to
that
priority 2 though,
They
right?
moved it up to
Okay,
priority.
so they moved that to a priority 2.
That's the
That's
change,
what
yeah.
is written,
Okay.
yeah.
Kind of an important business corridor.
Yes. it
Well, a
is.
lot of business people are parking back there, so.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
clear.
so they bumped that up to priority 2 there, so that, they found they needed to do that. Okay, that makes sense. All right, any other questions on that? Okay, we have a motion to recommend this to council from Councillor Peavoy. All in favor? Okay, thank you, that's carried. So now we will look at the land use bylaw. Now, Joe, would you like to speak to that? I understand. Oh, let's see, I guess, no, that wasn't the one that changed it.
Yeah, no.
But we have the, yeah, she said there was something else that got changed that we'll bring that up later. So we have the changes, pursuant to our
Which
public,
we brought
public,
forward,
yeah, our public meeting on the land use bylaw. So you all had a chance to read them. Is there any questions regarding those? We don't pass that, but we can recommend to council that we approve those amendments. So,
Well, I could do that.
okay, so Mayor.
I will move to approve the bylaw 1647, land use bylaw,
Okay,
and to bring that to council.
okay, so.
For third reading.
Pardon?
This will be third reading.
Yeah, we've done 2 readings on it,
Yeah.
so what we will have to do at
These are
the
the
council is
Approve the
move
amendment.
the approval of the amendments,
And
and then we can go on to third reading.
Correct.
So, okay, so we have a motion to recommend to council that approval of the amendments to the land use bylaw, Mayor Kronen. All in favor of that? Great, thank you very much. We can,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we go to discussion?
pardon?
Can we go to discussion on some of these changes?
Oh, if you like, yeah, I'm sorry,
It's all right. Number 7 and number 8, are they going to be grandfathered in? That we've got quite a bit of development going on in the west industrial area, and there's no trees whatsoever up there.
Isn't it normal policy that when land use bylaw changes are made, that
Yeah.
all previous stuff is grandfathered, you don't go
Yeah.
backwards?
Yeah,
That is-
yeah, there
That
would be.
is, that is the rules.
Well, there's, like I said, there's,
Permits moving forward.
yeah.
If you,
You can't change what.
it actually, I
already
think,
has been
mentioned in the
done.
bylaw, that a lot of things were from the date of the passing of the bylaw forward, so,
Yeah.
there's,
That's a
right.
good question.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. I mean, we still want to encourage people to beautify the community, and if they can do that, that'd be great, but we won't enforce that, and I think Nolan works well with the developers and, getting things done properly. So. Okay, oh, is that, okay?
Just Quick question regarding the land use. Is anything going on the purchases of the West End property for cars?
We
Is
do
that-
not have that on the agenda.
I don't know, maybe that, when
It's
that
not
came
on
up
the
was in
agenda.
camera,
Yeah.
so maybe we can.
Can't discuss it.
It will have to
we'll
be
save
on
that.
the next, maybe you want to call Jeff and add it
Yeah.
to the next meeting if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah,
It's good on my mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did have that session talking about it, so yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Jill, maybe you
Well,
can put it
I've got
on the next
a picture
agenda.
for that.
Just
Would you
questions
just- Yeah, would you
for,
do that, please?
I guess it would probably be an in-camera
Thank you.
item, because it was a planned sale,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we'll save that for,
Thanks.
to ask later. Okay, so we've already made the motion and passed the motion on that, and,
We go to 7A.
so yeah, we'll move up to 7A now. This was planning session follow-up items. Now, as I discussed this with Jeff, we were able to have a very good planning session, and we discussed every item that was on the planning agenda. We didn't come up with any other things that were really pertinent. I mean, there's probably going to be ongoing discussion on many of those items, but we didn't find that anything that was incomplete as per the planning session. So unless somebody has a pressing issue, I mean, these will come up again, so.
I don't have an issue, but a comment. I really want to really congratulate this council for having worked so many hours and to have accomplished so much in a day. I think it was quite remarkable, and I think we have given wonderful directions to administration to move forward what we intend to do in the years to come. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Question,
Thank you.
are we going to discuss any more at council level? I mean, we did a lot of discussion, a lot of things, but are we going to be talking in council,
Oh,
next council? about the-
certainly, yeah, we'll,
Every
planning
point
session?
will be,
yeah.
We'll go
I
through
mean,
will
there.
slowly be developed by administration and with the team,
Mhm.
and priority and policies or whatever is needed
Yeah.
will then be crafted.
I mean, we've got a lot of good
There's
direction.
a lot of,
but-
there's a lot to digest.
Well, there's still some final decisions
Yeah.
to be made, as you know, on some of the items
Yeah.
that we talked about. So they will be coming up at council meetings or CCW meetings or
Yeah.
both.
I felt it was a very productive meeting as
I
well.
mean, it's a living document.
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they definitely will be. Anyway, yeah, no, I appreciate your comments, and I also echo my appreciation of the council and the good discussions that we had on that meeting. We'll like to talk 7B, a follow-up. Now, the mayor and I and Jeff and Dave Innes were invited to the Blood Band Council, which was yesterday, and it was very, I think, productive, positive meeting. They gave me a little hint of Kayana, but I just wear that today. But I'll let the mayor report on that, because she was our main spokesman for the meeting.
The meeting went very well. We were very well received. We discussed the power, the funding of the power, and I can report that our funding will be matched this year. We have yet to decide what kind of power it would look like. We have a meeting planned for the week of the 14th of February, and I will keep you posted on that. There is definitely...
Did you say February 14th? Sorry.
Yeah, in that week.
Oh, that week, okay.
We do not have the exact
Sounds like
date.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
I think your
unfortunately.
husband on a date.
But what I have found,
To a meeting.
Mike Broosehead was the chair of that meeting, and Mike has a very forward-thinking attitude, and felt that we need to do more in cooperation, and he has opened the door to trying to work together on different items. So I think the time is now for us to capitalize on that opportunity. We have invited them, as we did in the past, and they were quite receptive. And I think we have quite a few different items that, as we come to know them better, we'll be able to slowly address and work together. And I think the time is right for us to do so. So if you feel that is something we should pursue, we would love to do that. But I won't do it on my own. We need support from this council.
Absolutely.
Just a follow-up question, are we talking about an additional, perhaps ad hoc committee to address some of those
We
initial
do-
concerns?
We do not have yet the model. What we know is that different ideas that have come forward, and Jeff will stay in contact with the band, and then we'll be able to formalize a little bit more what it looks like and what could be at the table. Mike has, Broosehead has said he would love to come to our next council, make a little bit of a presentation, and we told him absolutely, we'd love to have him. So that is something that's coming, probably sooner than later.
We've opened a good dialogue, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be positive.
The band was noting that it was the first time that the mayor of this town has gone and come before their council. So they were very pleased that we accepted their invitation.
So we need a
So
delegation of them.
who all
coming.
went? You and Councillor
Yeah, I
Green
went, and Jeff went, and also Dave Innes, who was
Okay.
on the
Four of
powwow
you went.
committee, yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Have we formally decided, are we gonna have a yearly powwow every other year, every 3 years?
We have not decided, Councillor. What we know is that at this time, this council has accepted 2 years ago that we would set aside $5,000 on a yearly basis. We do not yet know what the whole thing will look like. I was not even sure that I could support the power this year because economics are really going in the wrong directions for them too, and maybe even more for them than for us because I rely on a lot of energy resources. But I feel it's as important to them as it is to us to forge better relationships. But they also feel that it cannot be just a one-day event, because in a one-day event you do not bridge those gaps. And they feel that we need to take more initiatives in order to improve all cooperation and relations.
Can I speak to that? I really appreciate that you just said that, Mayor. I feel like sometimes when we're talking about powwow and issues surrounding powwow, we have this idea of, oh, as long as it doesn't happen after the sun goes down. And that's not really the spirit of the powwow. I mean, I can imagine when Charles Ricard and the original pioneers rolled into town here, you know, and if they heard the beautiful sound of drums in the night, that was a comforting and beautiful cultural sound. And I think that at least one night a year, we could enjoy that well into the night. And, you know, I just think we could be a little more supportive, a little more culturally understanding, a little more open. I mean, it's not just their culture, it's our culture. And you know, to restrict the powwow to, you know, oh, I can't do anything after dark, heaven forbid, we'll get complaints about the noise. You know, it just seems like we're not being as accommodating, you know, and so I can understand their apprehension when, you know, they're getting complaints because their beautiful drumming is disturbing someone's sleep. And anyway, you know, we have to be sensitive to people's sleep as well, but I'm just saying one night a year, that to me, celebrating our heritage and our culture, that is more than worth it. That's the least we can do to help bridge that relationship.
What I can tell you is the power would be changed in date, because when we have it in August, it conflicts with everything else that goes on that week. And it really is not the best time from an economic perspective, tourism, economic venue. So it would be moved the 20th, 21st of July. Those are the two dates that we're looking at. And what needs to be done is to be able to do it so that it becomes a little bit of a tourist attraction. It has to be a little bit more towards that area, not only to be for town, but to also be more regionally bringing people towards us. And so that's something that we need to look at. And if we need to apply for a grant, which we will have to do, I must do, we also need to portray our culture, because those cultural grants are not given if you only represent one culture. So I could very well see something that has a Western theme with it, that we can bring that forward, which would be probably more appealing to our community. And we have enough talent in this region to be able to bring that together. We're talking about the Chautauqua, which also represents a little bit of that component and culture.
Well, I'm wondering if we could tie that powwow into that Chautauqua.
Well, that's
somehow.
Something, maybe, Councillor, you might want to come at the next meeting,
Well,
maybe,
our
when we have
our
that.
Chautauqua is geared for second week in August, though, that's the
Yeah,
problem.
it might not work.
You know, but if we looked at a future date
Mhm.
where we could tie that powwow into the,
Well, we could cross-advertise as well.
Absolutely.
And that-
There is something positive that could come out of that, but we need to go beyond the power idea. The power is, in my mind, I would call it small potatoes. It is a goodwill gesture that is a beginning of creating the relationships that we need to work on more important issues in the future. So it's just a beginning, as far as I can see, for relationships.
Yeah. it was,
But it needs to be more than that. It has to involve the community at large. We need to kind of look at things a little bit differently. It's going to take time. It takes education. It takes understanding. It takes being able to leave behind maybe all the baggage that we all carry, both sides.
Anyway, yeah, I appreciate that. And it was interesting when we talked to him, the powwow was just like a given, like, yeah, of course, we're going to support the powwow. But then what I did appreciate that they says, well, let's not just talk about the powwow, let's use this as a time to expand.
A springboard.
And you know, and improve relations all around, you know. He said one day, you know, isn't always, you know, just a huggy feeling and then we're back to fighting again. We don't want to do that. He says, let's use this as a springboard to move on and address, you know, bigger issues. So we're encouraged by that, so.
And if there's a way to incorporate into our powwow, I mean, I've been to several of our powwows, they've all been incredible, but to incorporate in, you know, maybe a little more of an education piece as well. A couple of info booths set up, maybe some craft booths and things, make it a little more of like a festival, like a carnival. I've been to other powwows that incorporate a lot of that, and I know there's expense. I know, you know, I'm sure that the Chamber of Commerce would come on board and assist in some ways, and if we could make 2016 just an incredible powwow, I think
Well,
that'd be a good starting point.
2016 for the Blood Tribe is the 50th anniversary of the power in standoff. So it's going to be quite a show.
That's great. And do we know when that one is? Because we should all
Yes.
go.
Is it during the
Well,
rainy
Yes, we do.
It was the week
Yes.
before, wasn't it?
No, it's
Or-
going to be just after that.
24th.
Just after hours.
Yeah, after us.
24th of
It's-
July or somewhere in there.
Yes, that's
Or
what
it
it
was
is.
first and then there.
Yeah.
So that being the case, we can utilize ours as a really good, like that education piece, and invite everyone to go and enjoy and participate.
Right, and I've been to their power over there, and if you want a display of color and beauty and sounds and dance, and it's quite something.
See, Chautauqua, one of the pillars is the
First Nations
relationships, learning. So
Yeah.
if they could set up a learning.
So we can maybe do
we can invite some
something.
of them back for the Chautauqua celebrations here as well, just, you know.
Yeah.
maybe
We would love to have.
Not a big thing,
I
but
think-
just as
I think
a
that's something that our
demonstration.
community could grow
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it would be excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, great. Well, it's been a great discussion. Thank you, appreciate that. I think we'll move on now to 7B2, policy on transfer station burning. Basically, all we have right now is just the burning permit required, and
No changes, that's the one we've been using.
well, that's the way it is right now. You know, they require, you know, a burning permit, which, but is there something more that could be done on that, Mayor?
Regarding, Jill, this portion there, it says, do not burn if winds are more than 20 kilometers an hour, no problem. But can you maybe add the site where people could go to get that information that is current at the time when they want to burn? I know the Weather Channel has it, but could we maybe add something?
Is this burn permit for?
This is for anybody.
For anybody.
This is for
Anybody.
anybody. This
Yeah,
isn't just-
I think if we could make it a little bit more friendly,
So it's So, yeah, anybody that's burning these.
Because if you don't know, you're not
Logo
going
or
to search for it, and you're going
Smiley face
to
on there?
just hope that
Yeah,
it
Joe,
represents the right thing.
If
Now,
I-
do they not get these rules when they come in to buy, to purchase a burning permit?
Yeah, so I do get the rule, but you know, when the permit is given to them, you might have 15 kilometer an hour wind.
Yeah, but they
And
have
then
a
all they
window.
do, and
But
only,
they have a window there, to use that burning permit. There's a window of
yeah,
time.
I
but,
think Joe would like to speak to this, just to briefly.
go ahead.
To your first question about adding on to that permit, we don't actually make up those permit books.
I know.
It's through either the county or,
Right.
but we can definitely
But I'm
look at
thinking
that.
if they could maybe add that somewhere.
Yes. As far as the time frame, we are allowed to give a time frame up over the weekend, so up to take
Right.
up to 3 days. Otherwise, it's just for that day is what we normally issue.
Are
the
you on the
permits for.
EMS?
So sometimes they put multiple
Oh,
dates,
you
like,
do,
If
okay.
it's over the
So maybe,
weekend.
maybe
Right,
if
yeah.
you meet at your EMS
Or maybe
committee,
on
you
Thursday.
could, you know, just discuss if maybe, you know, some of those
Because
suggestions.
I can speak to it a little bit,
Mhm.
because there's,
It has come up.
people have asked, I know out in the county, people get a permit, they take a little longer, and so I know that I have gotten permits and asked for an extension on the time frame. So they're quite flexible about that. So if you need 72 hours, like Jill is suggesting, if the wind picks up, then you need to
Extend.
just extend, well,
You
you
have
know,
to
you can get it for 3 days.
Oh, okay.
So, what you need to do is maybe give them a call at this number.
Right.
Say, listen, I haven't been able to finish my burn yet, I'll be burning for another day yet or so, and then I'll let you know when I'm done, and they're good with that.
Right.
As long as you call them, and that's what that number is for.
Right, it says call before and after.
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
They're pretty flexible.
Just a comment.
yeah, Councilor Peavoy.
yeah, so I guess I'm not up on the story here. We're allowing people to utilize the burning area at the transfer station for their burn?
No,
On that-
no,
This is
I think we've kind of moved from the
Yeah.
transfer station to kind of a little general discussion on burning
I didn't
permits,
see how the
but,
transfer station.
It doesn't.
yeah, maybe we should kind of concentrate on the item on the agenda, which is specifically our transfer station burning. Yeah, Councilor Bengry.
Why is there a Lethbridge phone number on there?
That's the dispatch. That's where our EMS is dispatched, out
911.
of Lethbridge.
911 call comes from Lethbridge.
Mhm.
From 329-1225?
Yeah,
Correct.
that's where you have to call, that's their dispatch.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Any emergency.
And then they let Danny or whoever here know that
It's the first time, that's the
fire's
first time
out.
I've ever seen that phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They used to
You
be
get it
the
with
county,
every
it used to
permit.
be the county number that they
Right.
called, but, yeah, they've changed that.
Centralized.
So that they have an operator there. I think before, there was a little trouble, because when I sat on the EMS committee, there was some discussion about sometimes having trouble getting a hold of the person, you know, to get the burning permit, because they weren't.
Well, you can get them from Lloyd, can't you?
You can get the permits here at the office, anybody can issue them here.
Yeah.
Okay, so they, yeah, they get it there. So, yeah, there's different ways, but this, yeah, this is, I guess, this is the number you call before and after burn, the number that Councilor Bengry is referring to, so, that's probably so that they can notify the fire department on that, so. Anyway, going back to, you know, specifically our transfer station, you know, we get this big burning pile of things, and I know my own feelings, and it would probably be an expense, but I would like to see it more contained in some way.
Somewhere.
You know, I suggested either sometime we
Send
look
it
into
along.
getting a tub grinder so that we could reduce it down, and then it could be fed into an incinerator or an enclosure of some type, so that it's either above or below ground.
That would definitely make it easier to control, because
Yeah.
as we know, it might be great conditions when you start.
Mhm.
The problem is when
Wind changes in this country.
Yeah, and that's been a problem. One thing with that pile, it doesn't go out. I mean, it keeps
Smolders.
smoldering for a while, so.
The problem is really where the fence is.
Mhm.
When the wind picks up, the fire goes that way and can really create a grass fire in the back.
Yeah.
So that's really, if we could find a way to protect the back
Are you
fence.
talking about on the west side?
Yeah.
Well, the wind usually blows from the other direction.
Well, but every time there has been a grass burning, it has,
Has it been on the west side?
it has been. It has put
Well-
fire to the field.
Maybe what we do is we ask our graders who go through there and do the road to just kind of grade real bad right along that, that
Push
back
it
line.
closer
Yeah,
to the road.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Maybe that's what we need to do, create a little bit of a barrier there,
even just like
We
a
all-
a little
20-foot.
bit wider.
I was kind of wondering if they could use some of those little concrete blocks like they use
Yeah,
in the
well, that's
tire
what I
tire
wondered.
recycling.
But the problem is if the amber, if the pile is too high, the embers will fly and land wherever.
Yes, but in most circumstances, having that up there would be.
It
Yeah,
reduces
well,
the
just keep
chance.
it from spreading on the ground at least,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, maybe, can we maybe,
No, go ahead.
can we maybe get administration to figure out what the cost would be to put those
Concrete block.
concrete blocks on that side?
Yeah, to give it some kind of an enclosure of.
That would help, I think.
Okay.
At least
Yeah,
So-
so I would like to just make a motion that we recommend to administration to get costs.
Or whatever's cheaper, I mean, if a
Or some kind of
pile of
enclosure.
rocks.
Either that or a metal,
We
a
store
metal
up here at
solid fence
the
or.
gravel pit, we go move the gravel pit over there.
Yeah.
So-
Well,
I'll make a recommendation to council that, or to
Administration.
administration that they
research options.
research the options and prices for some kind of a barrier there.
Okay. Okay.
And I might add, maybe you should do some consultation with our fire chief and see if he has some ideas that.
Yeah, I think that's part of the researching options.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the motion was to ask administration to research costs on options.
Costs and options.
Costs and options of putting an enclosure and also consultation with, maybe with Chief Mountain or Fire Chief.
I would suggest our fire chief.
With the
is one
fire
to
chief.
talk to. I don't think there's anybody at chief, I mean, it's not
Okay.
part of Chief Mountain's
It's our
facilities.
transportation.
so-
No, because
Okay, so
They will say
consultation with
dig
the
a
fire
pit.
chief and Field, you have?
If I may, just as a matter of information, Jeff has talked with the other transfer station communities, and they do have no policy on burning at their transfer station, so we would be starting from scratch if we want the policy, or just to look into the enclosure idea on this.
If I may, I don't know if we want the word enclosure versus barrier. One sounds a little more
Yeah,
expensive.
enclosure, I'm envisioning a building.
Well,
Okay,
No, no, no.
Partly open, you know.
I guess we're saying barrier.
Barrier.
Yeah, we'll put the word barrier.
Fire barrier.
Barriers.
a fire barrier,
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah,
important.
so, okay, I like that motion. Okay, let's, all in favor of that motion? Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll just, so you can convey that to administration. So that way you're part of this.
There you go.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, well, thank you. Yeah.
If you don't mind me saying something that, I really also believe that the operator of the transfer station needs to be very cognizant of the speed of wind. And this is why I said, if we had a reference point for him at the point when he's going to put the match,
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
we'd be maybe a little bit less wondering, is it 20 or is it 30 at this point? Or,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it doesn't really feel so different on your body.
Does he typically, okay, I'm just gonna make comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wonder, does he typically call the office as well when he's ready to burn, or?
He comes and gets a permit as well, and he
gets the-
has to
so
notify
you're-
dispatch.
So the office, so you can notify Public Works and everybody's aware of when, you know, in the office when the burning is taking place?
Yes, when the permits come through, we have a mailing list of who we have to mail out to let them know that we've issued this permit for this day at this site, burning this material.
Okay.
So there's about 7 or 8 people that are informed of that.
Aware of when that's going to take
Yeah.
place, okay, all right, Dennis.
And also you need to be aware too, that's a bigger burning fire than what
Yeah.
we have at home.
Yeah.
We should
And
avoid-
he can start that up without a breath of wind, and then 15 minutes later, we can have a big wind. He's not gonna stop that fire,
Well, no, once it started,
you
it's
know,
going
once
to
it
go.
started. So
Yeah.
But I know, I mean, there was a fire, they started up the fire there on the weekend and it's still going today,
Yeah.
you know, so,
Yeah.
and I think we discussed this, that maybe there needs to be a little more parameters of how big of a pile it gets before he burns, like not to exceed a certain load,
Well,
and
I think,
then it won't burn as long, and I know that it's
Yeah, I think
it can
ideally.
get pretty big sometimes.
Yeah, ideally, and then, the problem is sometimes
Sometimes the
you
wind
you
doesn't
don't get
stop.
the conditions, and that pile just keeps
Just
growing.
keep growing,
But,
you're right,
And
yeah.
I think there's times when they have, stopped letting people put in things in the pile.
Oh, yeah.
When they
Yeah.
start to get too
But
big.
it's not easy
We
either.
can do that. Yeah, Councillor Bengry.
Mr. Chairman, I want to tell you that I am impressed with our building operator out there.
Yeah, he's good.
He comes out and he does most of his burning in the off days.
Yeah.
And I've seen him, he does, I think he does an excellent job, and he needs to be told that. Because I've watched him keep track of that pile, and like you said, he might have a burn schedule for such and such, and then all of a sudden the wind comes up for the next 3 days. But he does keep track of that really well.
He does, yeah.
He is
I think he does.
There is-
Probably, as we're drafting this policy, probably it would be good to consult with the operator out there, because he can give us a lot of
Yeah,
information of his experience and.
Well, not just that, but if we do create a policy, it's going to affect his contract.
Absolutely.
Like, that's going to
It may,
his contract will
affect
need to
his
be,
contract, yeah, I mean.
you know, 'cause
But,
we're creating a policy that we're expecting him to be adherent to.
Right, yeah.
in a contract that's already signed.
I mean,
He's gonna have to agree to it.
Well, I'm sure he's already, aware of best practices and
Right.
trying to do that, so I say if we consult with him as well, yeah.
What I wanted to say to Councillor Bengry, we do not put in doubt his ability, nor his competency. What we're trying to do is develop something that creates best practice when it comes to burning material. That's all that we're trying to do.
Well, like I said, I think he has followed, he's just followed very, very common sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and he does practice that common sense. And even if we did develop a policy, I think our operator does an excellent job out there.
Yeah, well, but policy is valuable, not only for the operator, but for all
Well,
future
like I
operators.
said, even if we did take the time to develop
Yeah.
a policy,
Yeah.
he has very good common
Oh.
sense on what to do out
I
there.
certainly agree, yeah.
just a comment, I'm quite surprised that there hasn't been a policy in place by other transfer stations. That really surprised me, and it surprised me even more that we haven't had a policy on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's time that we did get that policy in place.
Yeah, no, that's.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's not in this meeting, but I think I'm going to bring up in the future a policy on composting, because I do a little double take every time I see a little thing in the paper that says Cardston compost, because we really don't. We have a grass pile out there, but
It needs to be turned over a few times.
if it's done properly, you actually have a saleable product at the end, anyway, like, that's not on the agenda, but I can bring that up
Some other time.
some other time, so anyway, just to mention that. We have 7C, which is the Alberta Southwest ACP grant application. This is what we added to the agenda.
This is the one here.
And Councillor Peavoy, if you could speak to that. Some of us weren't totally clear on what this data
Well, yeah,
system
it's
was
written a little funny.
all about.
So, thank you. So the ACP grant, as we all know from everyone, is due on the 5th. And unfortunately, Alberta Southwest didn't get their, grant approval from whoever it is that deals with the RETAs. And so the RETA feedback came back, and now they have it. So they have their application in hand. They got it yesterday, sent it to Jeff and I. I didn't even see the email until today. So I quickly tried to get a hold of Jeff. And Jill, if I may, did you get a hold of Jeff?
He is aware of it,
He's
yes,
aware.
I just barely, he was on his way driving down, I've only just barely had a chance, he's had Wi-Fi, so.
Right, awesome. So essentially what they're looking for, they've already got a municipality on board to be their sponsoring municipality.
Yes, it'd be Pincher
And,
Creek.
yeah, Pincher Creek volunteered. Apparently they don't have any ACP grant applications going in. So this can fall under theirs. What they're looking for, though, is the partnership communities that help strengthen the grant chances, right? And, well, they at least need one. And I don't know who they have, other than Venture. I mean, the email went out to all of us at the same time. I am, because we got it yesterday, I'm guessing that our council is one of the few that could possibly meet before the deadline. Other councils might just have to email back and forth and approve it in principle or whatnot, but we had the opportunity to get together as a council to discuss it. So the grant application, which they need our thumbs up signature, our approval signature to support their application. They need that by Thursday so that they can submit it by Friday. And what it is it's the, what they're trying to do for the region, for the entire Alberta Southwest, is if the grant money comes in, they're going to connect basically it's like an economic development officer's one-stop shop. So if a community has an economic development officer, this would be their hub to the region. This is where all economic development officers would go. It's all online, right? So it's an online hub, and they communicate, share their ideas, have a whole big, regional calendar of events, different things. So there's full awareness and collaboration, and then that's all done through systems, software, and then this is the big part, data collection. So if we're having, let's say, our Cardston powwow, and we have numbers that say this many people attended, we send that up, and then the region will have regional data that they can keep feeding back to, the province and show, this is what's going on, these are the statistics, we've increased this year over last. Right now, we don't really have, data on that scale. We don't really have a place to put it. We don't have a software that calculates it. So when she talks about the Southwest Data Nest, that's what she's talking about, is kind of a one-stop economic shop. And by the way, communities that don't have an economic development officer, most of that falls under the responsibility of their CAO or some other designate. And this would be, whatever the designated officer for each community that's in charge of economic development would use this as their hub with this financing, so.
Okay, I guess maybe we have some questions. I think Councillor Bengry has a question, and the mayor has a question for you.
I read some of the things on this data nest, and to me, Councillor Peavoy, it almost looks like it's overlapping what Southwest does right now.
South Grove.
Or South Grove.
South Grove.
Right, so
South
South
Grove
Grove.
has definitely a lot of this kind of stuff.
Correct, and South Grove, they're a RETA to the east of us, and this is the RETA to the west of us. So
So we are part of Southwest.
We're both. We're in both.
We're both, and I just, I can appreciate what they're saying, but it's almost like it's a double take.
So yeah, all of those communities from Clare's Home to Crow's Nest Pass, they don't have any regional data,
Yeah,
economic development
Mayor could
collaboration.
probably speak to that better, because she's is our representative on South Grove.
What I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
is really, are you trying to create an economic development
Hub,
hub, but right now we're trying to partner with the county to get that economic development officer?
which this doesn't have anything to do with that. This would be a resource that
So-
officer could use,
So that's what I was wondering.
absolutely.
Are you just looking at data collection and computerized systems, then that becomes something that people can tap in regionally?
Well, absolutely. In fact, it's the data. It's the data. If you have it, if you have data, that's what they base grants on. So that's the kind of thing that could bring millions of dollars down here in whether it's, developers themselves or grant applications. If we can prove, for instance, that more people are visiting Waterton, then we get more federal money coming into the region. And so.
In which way?
Oh, just in the development of, the amount of finances. Waterton is a member, and they're always complaining that Banff, is the county and they're the municipality. They get nothing.
No, but help me understand. How would something like that give you more money? Help me understand.
Right. So if, for instance, Alberta Southwest, which is the Waterton region, right? So all the communities all are around Waterton. So if they could show, hey, we've doubled our tourism in all of these areas in the last year, then we send that data to the federal parks.
Don't that do that already?
Only Waterton's data is considered, but, you know, Crow's Nest Pass, for instance, doesn't send the feds their tourism information. There's no collection hub for that information. Oh, by the way, just so we're clear, right? This is an ACP grant from the province to, you know, to the RETA. The RETA would, you know, and all this would do is give them the funding to create this information center. It takes, in my opinion, it takes no money from us,
Okay.
but it greatly benefits us as a member of the
Do
RETA.
you know how much they're asking for it, by the way? Just-
I have no idea, but I'm
Okay.
sure like most,
So-
they go for what they can get. And
So-
then, you know, there's a whole plan to, for instance, if they get enough money, they can hire a couple of interns to manage this system, to get it up and
Okay,
running and stuff.
so that's,
Go ahead.
this is another point. You talk about a place of collection data. And I'm thinking, okay, what are we talking about when we talk place? Because if we talk infrastructure,
No.
or are we talking cloud? Or are
Cloud. All
we
cloud.
talking cloud?
All flat.
Okay, so then you need, on a permanent basis, you need somebody to feed data into that, because essentially every system falters when the data is not updated.
Correct.
And
So the idea is, that's why she's calling it a nest or a web or a hub, because the idea is the people who are putting in the data are the individual economic development officers or CAOs of each community.
so.
They would all have a login password and they would access their own community's information.
So in other words, the onus would be on the people local in every community to feed that website.
Well, and of course, there would be administration of that website at their office in Butcher Creek. So that would all be administered through the RETA, Alberta Southwest.
But the legwork has to be done at the municipal level.
There's no way Alberta Southwest would have any of that information.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
That's exactly
So in
right.
other words,
So if one community refuses to participate, then their data wouldn't benefit the rest of the communities.
I mean, in principle, I am not against the idea. I'm just trying to understand more or less the mechanics, if you were successful, as to how much more onus is putting on our own CAO.
Sure.
And that's, populating data, as we know, is quite time consuming. Because you have to get the data, you have to analyze the data, you have to log the data. So that's time consuming. So that's a little bit of my hesitation, because we don't have our CAO.
Right.
So, in principle, I can support the concept, let's put it this way. But I would really like to know the detail of it all. That it could be something that works. There is a program that we tried with South Grove that had the same intent, but municipality would not support it because of the extreme labor intensiveness of the data, logging the data. So it never went nowhere. Is there merit in it? Absolutely there is merit in it. But is that achievable? I can't tell, because it's not detailed enough.
This would probably be,
So in principle, I could support the initiative.
Right. If I may, just to speak to your issue, it's a valid concern. So the question then would be, why would we not want our municipality to have the relevant information for our community, just for ourselves, just in-house?
Okay.
In fact, I think it's part of our responsibility to have that kind of data, whether or not we have a RETA who also could benefit from the information.
Are you aware that we have the data?
Well, exactly, but
We
it's
have
not
it, we developed
it's
it.
not doing the region any good because it's not part of any regional hub.
It is,
Well, with South Grove,
it is.
with South Grove.
It has been done for every community in South Grove.
Right,
But
but South Grove doesn't have a
It speaks
national
of
park.
something else. It speaks of regional collaboration, which would have been more interesting if that would have encompassed a whole.
Meaning if South Grove had included it Southwest?
If
They've never been invited. If you're on that board, get us
If
invited.
Southwest, with that application,
Right.
could have gone further.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it
See.
sounds like it's all very rushed. They just found out that they were approved to move forward on it.
But, I mean, in principle, I do support that. I would love to see the detail.
Yeah, I don't
would
think
love
the
to
intention
see.
is that it would put any additional burden on anyone's administration. I think that the assumption is that each community, like you said, we have, each community already has the information, and this allows them to link it in with some software that makes it very automatic, so that when we enter it into our system, it can just automatically be copied into theirs.
Probably your regional development officer would be, your economic development officer, that would become part of his.
Yeah.
100%.
Well,
100%.
that was the first initiative we wanted to do with the county when we developed all that data and readiness for investment. In fact, that was that initiative, and it's all populated. But unfortunately, the county did not participate in that project. And so I find it interesting that now they are really eager to.
Well, yeah, I would
Go ahead.
hate for Pincher Creek to say at one point later, unfortunately, Cardston wasn't able to participate, wasn't willing to participate in our project. You know, so that's up to us. I mean, we get to decide as a
I mean,
council.
one of our ACP grants is that regional economic development
we
officer,
have
so
that.
Right.
anyway, maybe they would go together if.
Absolutely. This, in fact, a person who put in the ACP grant application that we submitted, and then to not agree to this, seems like, you know,
Anyway.
what you claim is your priority, is it really? You know.
Well, it's not the point. I think in principle, I'm pretty sure this council can support that. But we need to understand a little bit more of what it entails.
Yeah,
Well, at this point, it just entails an application for a grant.
yeah, I think.
I don't even think they've considered, they had 5 days, you know.
What are they asking for? They just wanted a letter of support?
That's it?
At this point, it's a letter of support.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get Councillor Bengry.
I'm prepared to make a motion for a letter of support of
In
this,
principle.
in principle.
Mhm.
Further,
That's all what we need to do.
having more information.
Pending.
Yeah,
Pending
In
more
principle
information.
would mean that it is,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily, the letter itself, though, is not pending more information.
No, we want more
We need-
information
we
on
need
the
to get-
database.
We're just giving them our support principle on the
Exactly.
project.
yeah.
Right,
that's
we
all
as
that
an
is.
independent municipality, we can decide if we're going to collaborate later.
Right.
All we're doing
Yeah.
at this point is supporting the grant. We
Say,
hope
hey,
they
this
get
would be a
the
great
funding.
idea, let's move forward.
There's
Yeah.
a 20% chance they don't even get the grant and all of it's moved anyway, but if they do, then we
No, I
can
mean,
kind of
it's-
split hairs on how.
There is something
we want to participate.
very valid in
Right.
trying to get the regional cooperation, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So.
I'll make a motion that we support the ACP grant for Southwest.
How about ourselves?
Is this a
Alberta
motion or
Southwest.
recommendation?
This is, well,
So
this.
recommendation to-
A letter of support for the.
Yeah, I think this is a little time sensitive because it has to be in, so.
I think we have to do it.
how
Well,
do we
that's
do
why
that?
we're making this motion tonight.
As,
Yeah.
I think we can direct administration.
That's,
if I say, you guys can support this in principle tonight, and then it can come to the next council meeting
Ratify.
for this actual motion. This motion doesn't have to be submitted until the 29th of February. So
Okay.
you have a little time to do the motion, but we
Good.
can let them get their application in by their 5th deadline.
So
Okay.
there's one motion.
okay, so Councillor Bengry recommends to the council to support this in principle, grant in principle.
And to.
And just give a letter of support for the grant, okay, all right, all in favor? All right, great, okay, good, well, we all, as collaborators, you know, if we can, I think what comes around goes around, so, you know, if we can support others and they will support us, and hopefully that will have positive results all around, at least as.
I'm just grateful Pincher hadn't used up all their ACP, slots, because you can only ask for 2.
Yeah, goodwill gesture anyway, so.
Ours is full already, too.
All right.
Well, thank you for bringing that forward.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
so
yeah,
time sensitive.
It is, and just unfortunately, sometimes things are that way.
All right, so we're doing quite well. We just got a couple of correspondence items. Cardston County just basically CC'd us on a letter to the Minister of Health.
Supportive or.
I am grateful for that letter, and I would love to have a thank you sent to the county for having done that. It's very appreciated.
Okay, would you like to make a motion to that effect?
Yeah.
A recommendation.
I would recommend to council that we direct administration to send a thank you note to council for the letter,
Support of the
County council.
to the county council for the letter to the Minister Hoffman.
Okay, all right, that's good. All in favor of that motion? Thank you, it's
It
carried.
supports our
Support.
position.
Thank you, thanking the county for that, for the support. Letter. Okay, we have that. The other
I
item,
know what they did.
correspondence is annual recycling seminar. As the Alberta Coordinated Action for Recycling Enterprises. I don't know if you had a chance to look at their flyer. I mean, I think the idea of recycling is good. I didn't particularly see anything that excited me on the seminar for sure. But anyway, any comments from?
For me, the only thing that really jumped out for me that we could benefit from is, places that would take it, right? Like, places that are willing. And it almost seems more appropriate that somebody from the Handicap Association attend in order to do, to do what they do better. Very expensive.
I would
Right.
guess that the Handicap Association would have gotten this information.
Invitation.
Or not.
I would imagine so, but I can check into that as well.
Okay.
What,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
no, what I was wondering, is there anything there, I mean, landfill operator, the issue over there is not to recycle, so it does not even fit for them. But is there something that we should know about?
I would recommend that someone from the Waste Authority should go, and I'll bring it up in that meeting, that someone from there be, so at least the region is represented.
Well, you know what, I won't go because the mandate is to truck garbage to the landfill and not
That's what I was gonna
recycle.
say.
Yeah.
That will
This
not
actually
go.
doesn't fit underneath of their mandate.
No, they never have gone for that very reason. They never have supported it.
It's the
Sorry.
recycling part is at the municipality level.
Yeah,
Regionally, it's about trucking garbage.
right. So I think maybe could we make sure that the Recycling Association has received that invite? Maybe they should be there?
It might be something they would be valuable to them.
Yeah, my only hesitance in limiting it to just them is that they are only responsible from when it arrives to them and what they do with it. They really have no influence on policies that bring more to them.
Councillor, you are on that authority.
Oh.
Should you be interested, would you like to go?
Well, I haven't even calendared that for myself, but
February 24th, February 26th, it's in Lethbridge for once.
if I can make it work,
It's a
I
Because
three-day
it's-
conference.
just know it's in line with, for instance,
It's $350, I think, to register, seems to me, if I remember. It seems to me I saw that somewhere.
That's correct.
Mhm.
yeah, my only conflict is my MPC was rescheduled for that day because we're
On which day?
the 25th. But
Okay, but
Dennis can probably.
the
handle it.
25th.
Oh, I can, yeah.
The 25th, yeah.
So it is something that I could do, but let's do this. What if maybe we agree as a council in principle if we want to send me?
And I mean,
and
you
then I
would
can
be
communicate-
the person that would represent council, that's your mandate.
Absolutely, and then I can maybe even just let the authority know and see if they want to
Well,
maybe
somebody could,
split it with me or whatever, because this is actually right in line with the last part of the, their grant money they're trying to use
Best
up to.
practices.
Right, yeah, the best practice, thank you. And although I don't sit on best practices committee, if
Well-
anyone from there wants to go, I can report back to them.
but regardless, councillor, you have a little bit of money into the kitty. If council approves that one councillor will go, then we will pass a motion to that effect.
Okay, yeah. And this is the 25th, so we'll be
All right,
happy with
so-
that. We can bring it at next council meeting. Councillor.
So I'd be prepared to make a recommendation to council that we send Councillor Peavoy as a representative of council to this conference.
All right, that sounds like a good motion. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that's carried, so.
Good.
Thank you very much. Now, we've completed everything that's on the agenda except for a confidential item having to do with the golf course contract amendment. So we'll need to do
Make
that.
a motion to go in camera.
Okay.
First of all, I think we'll have a break.
Okay, well, let's take a motion for a break then. Councillor Barnes moved in, 5-minute break.
5-minute break.
All in favor? Okay, we'll have
Gives
a
everybody
5-minute
a time to
break.
get out.
And we thank the media for their
Presence.
presence tonight and your coverage. Great.